Okay, since we have officially begun then, Dr. Miller, I want to make some introductions with you guys and turn the meeting over. Everybody I've sent from Kennedale ISD that I've sent some information out through email and been kind of leading some efforts with recruitment. But from here, things are going to be really handled from the KISD aspect from our superintendent and assistant superintendent. So I first want to introduce those two if they are here, and I don't know, Mr. G, are you here? And then Dr. V, assistant superintendent, who is going to be presenting on behalf of KISD after UT Tyler starts the show here. But Dr. Vu, you want to say hello to everybody?
The mute button.
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're very happy that you all are interested in this program. It's a great opportunity here.
And now I'll introduce everybody from UT Tyler that I can see on screen. I know, first of all, Dr. Wes Hickey.
Yeah, my name is Wes Hickey. I'm the Dean of the College of Education and Psychology here at UT Tyler. Make a couple of comments, and I don't really have time to be on here very long, but we have, this is our third year to be a part of the Principal Preparation Grant. Dr. Miller and Dr. Ray do a good job of staying on top of everything and working with individuals. Very excited to have you guys there. Got a little bit of background with Kennedale, know a few people that are they're in the district, and you know, just excited about the journey that's about to take place.
All right, and then Dr. Miller.
Yes, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. This will be my going on my sixth year at UT Tyler in the Educational Leadership Program. It's been an honor to be a part of that. And as Dr. Hickey mentioned, you know, this is our third group. We've been fortunate enough to work with districts who got the grant in cycle 1, also districts in cycle 2, and now in cycle 3. So we've figured out a few things, and I think we will be able to provide you a really outstanding principal internship program. It truly is a partnership between the university as well as Kennedale, so we are working collaboratively to make the program suit your needs. And so welcome, and we're honored to be here with you.
All right, and so I want to welcome, those will be our hosts for today. We are now up to 27.
Oh, Michael, could I ask Dr. Ray to introduce herself?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't, my bad, yes, sir. And Dr. Kathy Ray.
Hi, Michael. I'm Kathy Ray. I'm a retired school administrator of 37 years. Retired about 3 years ago, and I've been through most of the levels from classroom teacher to assistant soup, deputy soup, superintendent, and then I've also been an adjunct professor for the past 20 years. And so I love what I do. I've taught all of the mid-management courses and some of the superintendency courses, and I have loved being with UT Tyler because they are a great group to work with. And Dr. Miller and I make what I think is a really good partnership to work with each other, to work with you to make our courses better. And so anytime I can be of help, I will be teaching a couple of the courses that you will be taking. So I look forward to meeting all of you.
All right, everybody, I'm about to turn things over to the presenters. Just a couple of norms that we have for today. Just if you're not speaking, your mic's muted, and again, use the chat feature here to ask any questions. I know that Dr. Miller and Dr. Vu and Dr. Ray will all take a pause and allow for questions at certain times. We're coming into this meeting kind of a flip style. We're assuming that everyone watched the part 1 and 2 videos. If you didn't, I know that those videos were over about 30 minutes in length, give or take. If you didn't do that, we do have our part 1 and 2 presentations where we can cover some things like timelines and those kind of things. But our focus today, we're going to turn things over and first start with Drs. Miller and Dr. Ray and Dr. Hickey, and they're going to talk to you about the UT Tyler program, as that's the first order of business, is really getting into that graduate program. So Dr. Miller, Dr. Ray, and Dr. Hickey, take it from here.
All right. Well, good morning once again. What I will be doing here on a screen share is I will log on to our Educational Leadership Program home page. and just really guide you through all the details that are found on that home page. It'll really give us a good framework as far as the steps required to make an application, as well as the requirements of our program in general. So with that, and then of course, Dr. Ray and Dr. Hickey, would you please, Dr. Ray and I, by the way, Dr. Ray and I, when we scroll down through this presentation, when we get to the course sequence, which is near the bottom of the page, we're going to briefly show you the courses involved in our 30 credit hour program. But more specifically, we want to focus on probably the most, all the courses are important, but the most relevant courses, I think, in regards to a principal preparation, this residency, this grant, are the 2 practicum courses that we teach. And so I teach one of the courses, Dr. Ray teaches the other practicum, and we're going to kind of go in more in depth on those 2 practicum courses. So that's what we're going to do. And please feel free along the way to stop us and ask questions, and we'll do our very best to answer them. So are there any questions before I begin? Kind of scanning around. There are a lot of faces here. It's good to see. Okay. All right. So it may take me just a moment because sometimes the screen share is not all it's cracked up to be. It works pretty well, but technology, when it works, it's great. Okay, here we go. So what I want to do, okay. Can you see, please, by show of hands, can you see the blue banner at the top says University of Texas at Tyler? Okay. And then, of course, there's a logo for a journal. And then below that is UT Tyler Educational Leadership and Policy Studies. This is our home page. This is our home page. And by the way, how can you get there if you wanted to go in on your own? Of course, our site is, our URL is uttyler.edu. And then that gets you to the landing page of the university. From there, you'll see there'll be various, it's pretty user friendly, and you'll see various icons. One of the icons you click, the icon you click is online programs. From online programs, then you will see educational leadership, and you'll click on educational leadership. So university homepage, online programs, and then educational leadership will take you to this page. So here you are. Please note that you do have to apply to it's obviously a master's program, so it's a graduate college that you actually are applying to, as well as to our program too, because we review applications as well. But it's also being a graduate program, you have to be accepted into the graduate college at UT Tyler. So it starts right here. In fact, we are accepting applications right now. And of course, we do understand, and Dr. Hickey, please help me out if I misspeak here. We do understand that particular needs of Kennedale ISD with our summer term starting on May the 11th. We are now just wrapping up the spring, but summer term begins pretty soon, May the 11th. That we are accepting applicants right now. We have been for the last couple of months. But in regards to the interns from Kennedale, obviously you do not know who's been selected. And you, of course, then have to be willing to meet those conditions, et cetera. So it's going to take a few days, right? So we are really up against the timeline, which Mr. Cagle put very well and very clearly to you. So you please understand that. Having said all that, if there's some kind of a delay in getting all the paperwork together, we will do our very best working with the Office of the Registrar in regards to still getting you in the program, even if it's a day or two or several days after the start date of May 11th. So, Dr. Hickey, I'm going to stop right there. Did I say that right?
You did. We're gonna work with you to make sure that within reason, obviously, and you may have a little bit of catching up to do, but we want to make sure that we get this going for you this summer. So a couple of things, and I know Mr. Cagle had asked earlier about the GRE.
Yeah.
Because if you are, based upon our admission criteria, if you have a 3.25 GPA or above in your last 60 hours, are a 3.25 GPA and above overall, or that you have a master's degree, then the GRE is waived. So if you have all that in place, that makes everything a lot faster for you. So that works out really well. If you have to take the GRE folks are now letting you take it at home. So you don't have to go to any location. So you'd sign up. And I know that Mr. Cagle said that the information that had in place said that once you take it, it takes 15 days for us to get it. Or up to 15 days. So our experience is that it doesn't quite take that long most of the time. But here's what we'd ask you to do. If you have to do that, if you're going to be admitted into this program, as quickly as you possibly can, step in there and get that GRE taken. You'll get your score right away, but it's an unofficial score. But let us know what you did. And so we know that everything's going well. We put a little placeholder in your record. And then as soon as the official scores come through there, we can get you admitted and get you ready to go, and you can start getting caught up on whatever needs to go from there. The big key here is what I want to try to express to you is that we understand that we have a time crunch here, and that some of you may not meet the original time constraints. We're going to work with you. What we want, all we ask from you is that you work with us and you just be as quick as you can. If you're going to, sit on doing something that you need to get done for 2 weeks, that may put us in a tough spot. So just make sure that when, when you have to move to do something, whether it be GRE or admission or whatever, let's go ahead and try to move on as fast as we can in this process so that whatever flexibility we have on our end can be done in a way that doesn't create problems overall for the university.
All right. Well, thank you.
Dr. Hickey and Dr. Miller, we have a question right here. And so this comes from one of the prospective residents. He says, I've got accepted and have to accept or decline within 5 days.
Yeah, okay.
When they accept, they've got 5 days. And he's got a question about the interview process. So if it's okay, just to chime in here, to let them know, we are going to start the interview process. We'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. But with that said, that's a question for you guys. We are going to try to decide our residents by May 8th. So we've got some time that we're going to need to interview and all of those things. But how can you answer that? What do they need to say on that as far as right now if they don't know if they've gotten the residency?
All right, so Mr. Cagle, I'm going to bring over here the brains behind this operation, my assistant, Sydney Blundell. And so she might be able to give some information there.
Hi. So we have that 5-day criteria to let people know that they really need to be actionable. So it's not like if someone takes 6 days, we're just going to automatically discontinue them. It's just to keep people out on the lookout for our offer of admission. If you guys don't know, or if the applicant doesn't know at that point if they've been selected, that's okay. But just like Wes was saying, just keep us informed on anything like that, and we can absolutely work with that. And again, it's not going to discontinue somebody if they don't action within that 5 days.
Perfect. Excellent. Great question. Thank you, Sydney.
You're welcome.
Very good. Golly, really, those are things that are very helpful. I'm glad to, it's always in the details, is it not? I mean, it's always in the details.
Gary or Mr. Cagle, I'm about to have to get off this real quick, but any questions, feel free to send it to me anytime. And again, we're excited about this and certainly committed to working with you guys to make this a really good experience. So,
all right. Well, thank you, Dr. Hickey. Appreciate you so much. All right. Well, that's glad he was Dr. Dean Hickey. He was, by the way, real quick background. Dr. Hickey was, when I was hired 6 years ago in educational leadership, Dr. Hickey was our department chair in ed leadership. He actually was the one that recommended me for hire. So I'm forever grateful. It's all that to say too, I've known Dean Hickey all these years now. He's moved up from the department chair to the director of the entire School of Education, to now the dean of the College of Education Psychology. So I would like to think that I helped him along the way get his promotions. Probably not. I may have slowed him down. I don't know. All right. So on this page here, you're back to this, and as Dr. Hickey talked about, and you can read it for yourself on the admissions requirement. They're right there. They're bulleted right up near the top of that. The application process. These are in orange. These are hyperlinks that will take you to those various admission pages. You'll see that you first have to complete the application for admission to the graduate program. Also, the next one is a reference form questionnaire. What you'll see that is actually a request, or it's actually not, it's more than a request. It's a non-negotiable. We need a name of your current supervisor, principal, assistant principal, who can speak on your behalf. You will simply, on that step, you will simply provide us with their name and a working email address. We will then contact them and ask them to complete a questionnaire on your behalf. So you don't have to tell them that they are writing a letter and then you submit it to us, but please ask them or let them know, right? And then let them know they'll be getting an email from UT Tyler asking to vouch for you on your behalf. So that's what the reference form is. You won't have to ask them, would you please write me a letter? I need it by tomorrow so I can email it to UT Tyler. It doesn't work that way. It's simply a name and an email address. Then there's also documents that you'll have to send. This is a link, and you'll just simply upload them and send them on their way. Office to the graduate school. Remember, you're applying to our program and you're applying to graduate school. So it is conceivable a person could get accepted to the graduate school and then we don't accept them into our program, because they're two different things working. And it's also, we could accept an applicant in our program and maybe the graduate school says no. So there are two things that have to happen: program admission and graduate, college graduate school for admission. And so here you'll have to send like official transcripts. And I know that Michael and I have spoken about this. He's asked the question in regards to kind of back to this condensed time frame. Official transcripts, how can I get them if I don't have them handy? And chances are you probably don't have an official embossed embossed piece of paper that's a transcript from your university or universities that is in a sealed envelope that you could then just forward on its way. Believe it or not, I actually do. And I was telling Michael in my the 3 universities that I have degrees from, believe it or not, it's kind of crazy. I actually, towards the end of my degree program, I actually purchased, oftentimes you have to buy them. I purchased extra official transcripts, and they are in sealed envelopes for me in my office in case I ever need them. But you may not be doing that, of course. So how do you get official transcripts in a timely fashion? Well, of course, you would need to contact your institutions, and I would recommend that even maybe before you know that you get accepted, it may be advisable to go ahead and make contact with those institutions to get your transcripts, and just get it in the process. And even if you don't end up using it now, it'd still be handy for some event later on. And of course, official transcripts have to be sent either in a sealed envelope to the office of the registrar, or they are sent from the institution on your behalf. You ask them to send them to UT Tyler. So if you ask your institution to send them to you, to UT Tyler, they can do that electronically, and that does expedite the process versus using US mail or maybe FedEx, if you will, and having it delivered, unless it's overnight. But your institution where you got your degree or degrees can send it electronically to our institution, and that's an official way of delivering those transcripts. But that's kind of that's along with the GRE scores that Dr. Hickey talked about. Those are some time-sensitive issues. So please know that we will do what we can to help support you. And if it's a day or two late, or you're maybe up to even a week out from starting, once you get accepted, we can get you caught up to speed. So here's all that information right there. There's also down here, the next one, and then I'm gonna take another pause. There's one under the subheading finally. You will also submit and click here and complete an online survey. We ask some questions. These are questions that the Ed Leadership Program have created, and I score those. I'm the reader on these, and I evaluate the responses. They are open-ended questions. You know, as you tell your students, there are no right or, you know, like on STARS, there are no right or wrong answers. Well, there are right or wrong answers, but there are no right or wrong answers. You simply will be asking some questions in regards to your beliefs and your thoughts about, you know, Ed leadership and the purpose of, you know, what Ed leadership means to you, etc. So we'd like to just hear your thoughts about that. So let me stop right there. Are there any questions in regards to what we've talked about so far? If you have one, please just unmute your mic. You can do that by moving your cursor over to the top right-hand side of your picture. Click on unmute and you can speak. Any questions? All right, well, scrolling down through this page here, and we're getting close to when Dr. Ray and I will talk about the courses more in depth. You'll also, of course, as you know, this is something all folks in public education, you know, have to go through. And I remember when I was principal in Denton, that when this law, when House Bill 1508 came into being, where we had to get these fingerprints, and all of a sudden everybody, a lot of people may have had them, but we had to do this like massive all-call in Denton ISD. No, it's Keller ISD. I was in Keller ISD, where we had to get all these folks fingerprinted, you know, like within a matter of a couple of days. And so, you know, fingerprinting is something that's important to do, and I'm sure, you know, all of those records are going to be up to date. But just know, of course, that we, you know, in higher ed, you know, they look at fingerprints and criminal background check as well, because who knows, maybe in somebody's circumstances, some event happened between the last time they had a background check and where they are right now. You never know. So just know that we do a criminal, you allow us to do a criminal background check. Okay. All right. Here are the, as far as the corresponding points, this is basically shows you, well, not basically, it does show you the part of our evaluation process for our program is that as far as they have to accrue 5 points or higher in order to be admitted. That's one of the things we look at. And this simply gives a breakdown of how those points can be accumulated to get to 5. And so if you have, for example, if you had your last 60 hours, any 60 hours in an undergraduate program, it wouldn't even have to be an undergraduate program in education. You may have moved on and then got another bachelor's degree in architecture. And those may have been your last 60 hours. You may have had a 4.0. That counts. That's why you send all your transcripts and, you know, into our offices so we can evaluate that. But you get 3 points for having a 3 point or higher. Also, you can see for those who maybe have had the GRE that you get points based on these breakdowns over here on the left, how many points you can get that way as well. So it's more of a holistic approach to trying to, you know, evaluate an applicant's academic performance and potential. I mean, well, I won't say it really measures future potential. That's up for debate, is it not, on testing? But it does evaluate past performance, no question about that. And that's even limited because maybe folks are not really great test takers. Maybe there are other ways they can share their knowledge, as you all know, right? So here's that information. I'm going to make another pause right there because we are scrolling up to when Dr. Ray and I are going to talk about the specific courses. Any questions? Unmute your mic if you have a question. Michael, by the way, how am I doing on time? I see it's 12:26. We okay?
Oh yeah, you're doing really well. I want them to hear and know, especially this section, what they have there as far as know about these courses. And
yes,
one of the things that I think that you ought to stress is that normal people that are going through your program have to do all of the things you're about to talk about in their spare time.
Yeah, all right, let me just, yes, and Dr. Ray can allude to that too. Michael, that is so true. I will tell you, of course, you guys all know this. I mean, being in education and seeking higher, graduate degrees, et cetera, and even undergraduate degrees, may have been working full time. Who knows? But you're right, Michael. So let me begin with that. In this master's program, it is, of course, is for everyone. It is a 30 credit hour program. It's 4 semesters. We use the term block, and you'll see on the left-hand side, for example, where I'm moving my cursor, block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4. Those are semesters. Even though we're 100% online, we do follow a traditional semester schedule with holidays and start dates and end dates, etc., even being online. So blocks are semesters. So you can see our program takes 4 semesters. It's 15 months. And yes, people that are in our program that are not a part of this grant internship are working full-time as elementary teachers, secondary teachers, coaches, district administrators. This is all in their spare time. As you guys know about spare time, grading papers and doing lesson plans and responding back to emails from moms and dads once you get home, and that's after dinner, right? Well, this is just more of the same, and it will just be a whole nother layer. However, for folks in an internship, for those, and of course, Michael and Dr. Boo will speak more at length of this, those that are accepted and agree to the conditions of this principal preparation grant cycle 3, you will be a full-time principal intern. You'll be, and I won't go into a lot of detail, but you'll essentially be relieved of your teaching duties or whatever duties you have in Kennedale to be a full-time intern. So with that, even though there'll be some increased expectations that our regular students don't do, because you'll have expectations from Kennedale, but it will certainly free up your time to get a lot of more of our work, because our work, we go hand in hand with what Kennedale's work is. All that to say is you'll have actually a lot more time than our traditional students have on tackling this endeavor. So it's in a good position for a lot of ways, So what I want to first point out to you is these 3 highlighted areas. We have 3 different course sequence rotations. These are all the courses over here on the right-hand side. There are 10 courses. The courses themselves do not change, but the order that you may take them in can change depending on when you begin the program. For example, but there are minor changes, but there are subtle rotational differences. So of course, in our case, you'll see there's, not only can you click and actually get a PDF of that particular course rotation, but I'm going to, on fall, spring, and summer, I'm also going to just simply scroll down to the summer, because that's what you begin in. Every summer, you, regardless of being in a grant preparation program or a traditional student, you would take this sequence of courses. So we're going to look at that, and that's where Dr. Ray and I are going to jump in and talk about this some more. So here is course rotation for summer. So in block 1, long summer semester, beginning May 11th, all of our students take 2 courses, EDLR 5311, Instructional Leadership and Supervision, and EDLR 5313, Strategic School Improvement. Then the next semester, and come the next fall semester, they will take these 3 classes. And then the next spring, these 3 classes. Here is, by the way, and back to the fall, then we jump back there, and I'm just giving an overview here. We'll talk. Dr. Ray and I will delve deeper. But you'll see here's the first practicum. This is one of the courses Dr. Ray teaches, that practicum, the internship program. Then in the spring semester, block 3 is the second internship, and I teach this one along with some other courses. And then the next summer, a year from now, These are the last 2 courses. Now, this is where it also kind of gets, it's important to note that sometimes students will ask us, I see that in some cases I have to take 3 classes, other cases I take just 2. Let's just, as a hypothetical, say like come the fall semester, you see these are the 3 classes for a total of 9 credit hours. That's a lot of work. But of course you're interning, so you conceivably have maybe more time. But sometimes students will say, can I maybe just take 2 of these classes and then wait till the next semester to pick up that 3rd class from block 2? Are you following? And we can allow that. But here's what happens if you do that. You cannot take, if you only took like 5320 and 5337 in the fall and chose not to take the practicum until maybe the next semester because you're just kind of overwhelmed, we as a program allow that. And what that would mean is 5370 right here would now move into block 3 for the spring, okay? But that is the only class that we will allow you to take. You could not take any of the courses in block 3 until you have finished all the courses in block 2. So essentially what that action would make you take another semester to finish the program. We do allow that when students ask us. We kind of try to discourage it, but we do understand life gets pretty busy sometimes. I'm saying all that, and this would be more of a, this is all about a Kennedale ISD decision here, in that your grant runs out at a certain date. And if you push this out and added another semester, you may be outside the grant window as far as money and all these compliance things that Kennedale has to work through with TEA and the grant. So you be sure if you wanted to do that, and Kennedale may just have, won't speak to Michael and Dr. Fu and Mr. G, but Kennedale just may say, you know what, if you agree to this program, this would be my advice, by the way, Michael. This would be my recommendation. If you agree to the terms of this program, you are also agreeing to following this sequence of courses as written and will meet the full complement of courses to be taught. But again, that's kind of a Kennedale decision. We will allow it as a program, but there's another overriding theme here, Kennedale's expectations. So let's start with some of these classes then. Dr. Ray, can I ask you to unmute your mic, please?
Surely.
Okay. I can't remember which one, let's just start off with this summer. You are teaching one of those 2 courses, am I correct? And could you talk a little bit about that?
Correct, 5313.
Okay.
Okay, and that is strategic school improvement, and we look at critical issues that face campus administrators, primarily speaking the principal. And we will be looking at lots of data points for your respective campus. You will be researching TEA website for the last 3 taper reports, the last 3 school campus report cards, and be pulling data from those particular pieces of information. We will work through the semester to the point where you have identified by the end of the semester a critical issue on your campus that you feel like, based on the data, needs to be researched in order to be improved. And so that course then is a prerequisite for the Practicum 1, which we'll discuss in just a few minutes. But by the end of the 5313, you will also have written an introduction for your action research project, and this will be completed in 5313, that you may carry over and use in your 5370 research course. And that's a choice if you want to continue that particular line of research or if you want to change it to something else. But I will tell you that I love data, I love strategic planning, And so I very much enjoy teaching this course because it does present some aha moments for us as we are looking for what the true data-driven issues are, or I should say data reflective issues are on each particular campus.
Very good. And I'd like to just add to that, Dr. Ray, that we have learned over the years, and we reach out and reflect quite a bit with principals and teachers and central office administrators who are practitioners about the needs of what they would like to see campus administrators come to as they exit our program. And we hear it over and over and over again, and that is data-driven decision-making, being able to disaggregate, understand, analyze, and come up with solutions based on campus, district data, and furthermore, state and national trends. And so this course Dr. Ray teaches is really a great introduction for those to really align your thinking with that. And of course, many of you probably already are immersed in data-driven discussions through PLC meetings and data talks all the time. But we understand that and we carry that forward. And I'm sure that Michael and Dr. Boo and Mr. G in the committee, the Kennedale internship work will probably be heavily embedded with data-driven decision and problem-solving activities. And if so, sure it will be. There's probably no if there. But all this work partly will align. We make a real point to try to align our coursework with the work you will be doing in Kennedale, and perhaps a lot of it can be used in both arenas. Maybe, maybe not. If we can, we would love to see it, because we just don't want to, Dr. Ray said, we don't want to work in just this theoretical laboratory. You have to have strong theory, but the ultimate goal is to be able to apply it. And your work as an intern would be able to apply it on your campuses and in your district. Do you agree with that, Dr. Ray?
Oh, I most definitely do. And I think so oftentimes on campuses and sometimes in districts, if a person's at the district level, we look at situations and we think, oh, the problem is, and we just make that supposition based on how we perceive things. But then when we begin to look at the data and what it is revealing, it may not be exactly what we thought it was, the root cause of these things. So I think it is crucial in everything we do, from the district office all the way throughout the campus and also into the classroom, because now we're doing so much data-driven instruction in the classrooms.
Absolutely right. Very good. Well, thank you, Dr. Brand. Of course, we're going to pick you up in just a second because we got more. Let's move on to block number 2. There are 3 courses there. I teach one of those classes. Dr. Ray teaches the Principalship 1, and then Dr. Starrett, who is not with us today, but Dr. Starrett teaches one of the others. My class is 5320 School Law. I teach the School Law class, and it's all the courses are very interesting to me, but I find School Law particularly fascinating in large part. Of course, it may be the most frustrating for administrators as well, because law, whether it be state, constitutional, whether it be rules and regs, whether it be administrative code, a TAC, you name it, many of it is very ambiguous. It's by design, I think, to be that way, because you can't possibly address every contingency in a law or rule or regulation, can you? If that is so, it has to be really written very broad. And because all these are written so broad, that sometimes it's a matter of interpretation. And when it becomes a matter of interpretation, that's when it relies on your district level experts, like in special ed, 504, dyslexia program, you name it. All that being said, that's what is very interesting about school law, but also what can be very frustrating as an administrator, because you thought you were following it to the letter, and lo and behold, you get a letter or you get something from the Office of Civil Rights, and somebody has filed a grievance against you for being out of compliance on something, denying a student's rights or a parent's rights or a teacher's rights. And you think, oh my heavens, I've done everything I was supposed to do, and yet I find myself being litigated against, or at least your district is. And chances are, if you are a administrator long enough, I was a principal for 11 years, you will have grievances filed against you. I had two. I had two, and that just floored me. Believe me, it did. I mean, you just don't know. But you can be assured that if you do follow policy procedures to the letter, and you have sound reasoning to back your decisions, whether it be the U.S. Constitution, state law, you name it, IDEA 2007, you name it, you are in good stead, but you still may have to go through the process. You may still have to go to some kind of hearing. But for all that being said, school law is very fascinating because it is interesting to read, case study, and learn about what has happened in public ed. So that's an interesting class for me. I teach that, and it's the school building operations is, of course, taught by Dr. Sterrett, who's not with us today. And then there is the practicum and the principalship one. And before I turn it over there, let me take another break. And up until now, from block 1 and through the school law class, any questions or comments from the participants as far as what you're hearing? All right, well, Dr. Ray, this is all the courses are important, but these two practicum, the 1 and practicum 2, really, there's a lot of meat there. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot that even though they're only 3 credit hours, they're very intense. So would you please begin with our principal practicum 1, please?
All right. Principal Practicum 1 is also known as the Action Research course. And I want to try to put everyone at ease. If you're one of those that will be enrolled in this course, we meet via Zoom quite a bit during this course. I have found that helps alleviate some of the fear of the unknown, so to speak. But this practicum consists of an action research project. And what you will do is visit with your campus mentor, who most likely will be your campus principal, and talk about some type of issue that needs to be researched and addressed on your campus. Now, it might very well be, remember, the issue that you identified in 5313, and you may carry that same introduction over into 5370. But once you have identified that issue, we will begin working on an action research project. And of course, that will include those areas such as the introduction, the review of literature, methodology, conclusions, and all of that will be formatted using APA. Now, I have found that is usually one of the biggest concerns that people have, is because they're used to using MLA, or, as I'm frequently told, Dr. Ray, I've not written a research paper in 25 years. I don't think I can do this. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And the reason you can is because we work together on this. We work as a group via Zoom, and we work individually via Zoom. And so the critical part is to identify the issue that you need to research. So we will be working on that throughout the semester. At the end of the semester, you will have a completed action research paper. You will also be completing a presentation. And I would suggest that you utilize that presentation as you are wanting to make your district folks aware that you're interested in any openings that might become available in your campus. So make the best use of this time that can utilize your future endeavors. Now, another component of this class is will be that you have to complete 120 hours, practicum hours. There's a format that you log those hours. You and your mentor principal again sit down and talk about the different types of activities by which you may learn and that you can utilize when you become a campus principal. Now, when we talk about the types of activities, every semester I have someone say, now, Dr. Wright, my campus principal really needs some more help, and they're wanting me to be the lunchroom person in charge of discipline. And that's 5 days a week, an hour a day. And my response is, you know, yes, I understand that that is a part of being an intern and oftentimes an assistant principal, but please remember we are focusing in on the instructional part of the school day. So we want you to be involved in different types of committees, budget preparation committees, site-based decision-making committees, campus improvement committees, all of those types of things. We want you to be a participant, and we also want you to lead in those types of activities. So we're looking for a different or a variety of activities that will help you become a well-balanced campus principal when it comes to experiences that you have had. Now, most folks do not have a hard time getting the 120 hours, but you must plan, because if you come up 2 weeks before a semester is about to finish and you are lacking 60 hours, well, you know, as the old saying is, Houston, we have a problem, because you most likely will not be able to get the remaining hours in those 2 weeks. So it is a matter of planning and organizing yourselves. One other thing that I was thinking about that is also, yes, in this course, we're required to have 2 post-observation conference processes. So you will select a teacher along with your principal's blessings, and you will have both a pre-conference with them. Then you will observe their class period. You will record it. Then you and I will have individual meetings, just the 2 of us, and we will talk about that teacher's performance and what are your plans as far as a post-observation conference. So we do that twice in this course, and I do help you with those plans as to how you're going to visit with the teachers. And then when you get into Dr. Miller's class, you will have a third field observation or field supervision activity. So those are the main things in this class. You have an action research paper along with the presentation that goes with it. You have 120 hours of practicum hours. And then you also have those 2 observations, which are required by TEA in order to meet the full requirements of this course. And again, I will promise you that if you give forth your very best graduate level expertise and work in this class, you will be able to pass the research class. I have many, many students that can attest to that. So you will be fine. You will be fine.
Very good. Are there any questions for Dr. Ray?
I have a few questions and maybe some comments. Dr. Ray, you know, for those of us who have lived through the practicum experience, we were not paid interns. You know, we had to get those hours outside of our other duties, and they will be paid interns. So I believe that those practicum hours need to be very specific in what we're requiring to get, because they will be paid interns. And I believe our mentor principals will need some guidance and help in trying to delineate what those specifications might be. But I think that this practicum, that was my big question whenever I looked at the practicum. How does the practicum work when they're already paid interns? So, and you've addressed some of it. I love the action research component of it. I believe that is a great way to get them doing some things that could fulfill a lot of that. But as far as the hours that they're going to have to log, I think our mentor principals would need some guidance and some help in designating some very specific things they need to be doing
Okay.
outside of the intern pay.
Yes, that is true. Now, I need to ask Dr. Miller a question here in order to respond to you. The fact that they are being paid, I could certainly see some after-school activities such as administrator on duty and that type of thing. But some of the activities that we would like for them to be involved in, such as being in the classrooms, maybe leading PLCs, are those the type of activities that you would feel like should not be included since they are being paid? Am I understanding correctly? I'm sorry.
I believe that, you know, those would be some general things that they would already be doing. So as they're being paid to do those, I think we need to have some outside things that are very specific that would be required in addition to that.
Gotcha. So,
all right, we will work with you, most definitely.
And Mr. G and Kathy, along those lines, and what we did last in cycle 2, we had partnered with Westwood ISD, who is also partnering with us in cycle 3. We also had Harmony Public Schools. And so I can speak to that. What we did too in regards to that, Mr. G, is that we worked with the campus principals. It was basically like a 3-way collaboration between the student, they were interns also, they were paid interns, Westwood and Harmony. So they collaborated with their campus principal in a 2-way collaboration, and then we stepped in as the course instructors to sign off on the leadership activities that they would do that semester to accrue those 120 hours. And so we were very much a part of that planning process. It really was a 3-way discussion and reaching an agreement as to what those leadership activities, those 120 hours would be for the course. And then of course, in conjunction with that, then it would be all those administrative activities that you decide as superintendent, as well as the campus leadership and Dr. Lee, the assistant sup, you know, that, then there would be that way I see it, but we are very flexible too. Then there would be another layer of activities that they would be doing as part of their internship with Kennedale ISD, that you would have expectations, non-negotiables. But then there'd be this other 120-hour component where all 3 parties have agreed and signed off onto, as far as this is what will count here, and this is what goes over in this column. Is that so we do want to make sure that those 120 hours are activities that you as a district want to see. Now, ideas. Back to you talked about ideas. I think Dr. Ray has something comparable to this as well. I have several documents that I have in my course. They are PDFs of lists, suggested lists of leadership type activities, because that question actually comes up a lot. So what you know, I understand the phrase leadership activities, but what do you think, you know, give me some guidance on this. And we do have that. So I actually have it categorized. I have types of leadership activities. They are only suggestions though, but they do give some focus as to what maybe the principal and the student mentor intern would like to tackle. So we do offer that as well. We have some documents, and I can send those to Michael and to you, to everyone, of course. You could see them up front as far as from my class, as far as here's some suggested leadership activities. One of the documents is like about 16 pages long. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could consider. And then, you know, but they're starting points as well, because sometimes folks get very creative on what about this as a leadership activity to fulfill my 120 hours. So at the beginning of the class, Mr. G, actually what happens is in Dr. Ray's class too, once this leadership activity list is put together, it is uploaded in Canvas, our course management system. It's uploaded into Canvas, and then what I do is I review it and I sign off on it. And my signing off means that these are acceptable leadership activities, and you are to follow these activities. If changes do happen, maybe responsibilities happen or change, or things come and go, as we know in the life of administrators. What you're doing yesterday may not be what you're working on the next day. They can send in amendments to that leadership list. So we will have a list of all these activities that we have agreed to that we find appropriate, before they actually start accruing those 120 hours at the beginning of the semester. That's a great point. We do work with our students and the principals and collaboration. And there's certainly even another level here, if you will, because Kennedale and the internship program. Does that help?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. It's a great question because you do want it to be purposeful, meaningful. And as Dr. Ray said, we do get, and not just grant students, but all of our students. I mean, sometimes a principal who is the mentor say, this is great. I'm going to have you do bus duty every day, and every morning. Said, and that may be a Kennedale ISD internship expectation, but we would not accept it as far as our 120 hours. I doubt you would too. I mean, but so there's that. Oh, and also what Dr. Ray had talked about, TEA, their program requirement for field observations is a total of 3 field observations spanning the practicum. In our case, we have 2 practicums, and so we have placed 2 of those field observations with a signed field supervisor that is not necessarily myself or Dr. Ray, though it could be, but we hire former principals, former superintendents that have credentials and have had success in the state of Texas and have had training through TEA to be field supervisors that actually do these field supervision observation activities, 2 in Practicum 1 and the 1 in Practicum 2. Now, Dr. Ray is also a certified trained field supervisor, so that's why she can do that. I am not. I am not a trained field supervisor, so in my field observation, when they move into Practicum 2, and I'm kind of jumping the gun, but it fits here. When students move into Practicum 2 and they had that 1 field observation, we have field supervisors from around the state that we've hired, they're under contract to do that field supervision work. So there's even actually in my class, there'll be a 4th person that helps guide all that work. Now, let me also add one more thing, and this is, I think, is probably going to be in Kennedale's, is it called an FOI? I mean, the guidelines that you are working under from TEA, is it called an FOI, Fidelity of, talked about yesterday, Dr. Blue, in the TEA webinar, but essentially where I'm going is that you may have actually, you probably have in your grant expectations, you will actually, I think, have 3 field observations in Practicum 1 and 3 field observations in Practicum 2, I do believe. Our traditional students outside the grant is 2 and 1, and then TEA has added 1, 3 and 3. I think I'm correct on that. So we will
it's 3 and 3.
So we are actually 3 and 3 for the grant folks. So that will apply to Westwood and applies to Kennedale, but we'll follow the same protocol, the same processes in place, but 3 and 3. So actually, so that's part of more of the intense rigor of being an intern person. So all good points. And of course, we will always be happy. You guys can call us and email us, and we will talk more at length. And of course, we'll be collaborating and doing committee work, I know anyway. So that's Practicum 1. Any other questions or thoughts about Dr. Ray's Practicum 1? All right, well, as you can see in the summer block, or if you started in the summer, now moving into block 3, the next spring semester, you'll see Practicum and Principalship 2. I teach that one, and that's the only course I teach on that list there. And out of those 3, I teach the Principalship 2. So it is a continuation of internship activities for our practicum hour activities and plus internship activities for Kennedale that where Dr. Ray left off in Practicum 1. There are a couple of key differences, and you see this all outlined in the course syllabus. And of course, we were very, don't expect, we're not going to test you at the end of this presentation. What did we tell you about Practicum 1 and 2? You can upload our course syllabi and you can look at the overview. Of course, when you get into our classes, we'll talk a lot about it to guide you through it. But some key differences. Practicum 2, there's no action research paper. And as Dr. Ray will, as you go through it, and Dr. Ray knows it very well, of course, that's a big part of what their work is in Practicum 1, along with the hours, is the action research paper. But the action research paper is finished. So there is not the Practicum paper to work on, but there are two other things that are a big component of Principalship 2. The first is that during the Principalship 2, aside from, by the way, I'm kind of getting somewhat outturned. There's also the requirement of 120 hours of practicum hours accrued in Principalship 2. And again, as we talked about, Mr. G asked about the leadership act. Those 120 hours are a collaborative effort in agreement between the mentor, campus mentor, principal, AP, the student, and myself. And field supervisor can have a role in this as well. This will be a collaborative effort of these 120 hours of leadership activities. So there's that in place. Also, what's in place is the other 3 field observations that I talked about before. In those 3 field observations, like in Practicum 1, since the principal preparation grant takes on another meaning, a greater responsibility, we work very closely with all of our field supervisors and students, but there's even another layer, if you will, a higher expectation when it comes to Kennedale. We want to work very closely with you to make sure that those field observations, whatever they may look like, are things that you need. Of course, we can help through that. In fact, by the way, when we do this is kind of an aside, but everyone can hear it, but this would be really for Mr. G and Dr. Boo and Michael. And Kathy can talk to this too. They talked about yesterday that the TEA will have a virtual webinar coming up soon in the summer. And after this webinar, we will be doing some planning. Kennedale ISD and UT Tyler and Westwood ISD and UT Tyler will be doing a big part of that virtual meeting will be some very in-depth planning to talk about and to lay out what those, among other things, what those field observations will look like, what those 3 will look like in Practicum 1, and what those 3 will look like in Practicum 2. This may not mean a whole lot now, it may just be confusing, but for example, in Westwood and Harmony, when we planned with them, of course we were face-to-face in Austin last summer, but when we got together and planned, we lined out the expectations of the field observations. For those that were in the webinar yesterday, you remember that document, the Effective Schools Framework. There are 5 levers in the Effective School Framework, and Heather focused on that. This is a big piece of what a field internship ought to address. And so we made sure that in the field observations, we incorporated those Effective School Framework within the field observations, for example. We also made sure that a big part of the field observations really embed, and Dr. Ray talked about it, embedded being able to work with teachers from an instructional modeling standpoint, being able to work with teachers from a teacher feedback standpoint, all as part of those Effective School Framework as well. So we will be planning this summer what those field observations will be. We'll have a strong and solid understanding of what we want those field observations to look like. So there's 120 hours, Practicum 2. There are the field observations in Practicum 2. No action research paper, but we make up for it. And that is, there's the, Dr. Ray smiling. There's also within the coursework, and this is for all students, grant folks and non-grant folks, and that is that the students will have to register and hopefully take, our expectation is that they'll actually take the TEA Principal as Instructional Leader 268 exam during the semester, usually towards the end of the semester. So we're focusing and getting them ready to take the real live TEA exam. Also, we are focusing and getting our students ready to take the PASL, Performance Assessment of School Leaders. It's also known as the 368. We do not require, and you'll get this in the syllabus, so don't have to remember all this. We do not, as a program, we do not require our students to take the PASL while they're in our program. Now, please note that in order to apply for principal certification, of course, you'll have to successfully complete our program. You have to pass the 268 exam, and you have to pass the PASL. That's a TEA principal certification requirement. We do not require the PASL to graduate from our master's program, but we do line it out. We do talk about it, and we get our students going on it. But it's not part of a programmatic requirement. But they work on the PASL, they get themselves prepped and ready, and actually will take the 268 exam towards the latter part of the semester. So that will keep our students busy, plus 120 hours, plus their field observation. So there's a lot there. Let me pause right there. Any questions or comments? All right, well, it's all good. You look at it from the 30,000 foot view and you go, oh my heavens, there's a lot here. There is. Make no mistake. And Dr. Ray and I went through many moons ago, principal preparation programs. I went to University of North Texas back in the early 90s. I think I graduated in 91. So I'm like, yeah, we didn't have PASL, didn't do field observations, had the 068 exam. There's a lot more rigor and relevance. It's all good work. It's very intense, it's very thorough, but it's all intended, and I do believe this, it's all intended to make you better prepared to be principals and assistant principals when you step out of our program and step into that campus leadership role. You will be better off, absolutely. I have no doubt about that. So that's block 3. We're almost to the end, and then we'll be turning it back over to Dr. Vu and as far as the rest of the presentation. But block 4, the next summer, so a year from now, you'll be in your last 2 courses. Yay! You'll all be going, yes. And there's 5333 and 5310. I teach 5333 also. I teach 3 classes. I've done it for the 6 years I've been here. I teach the School of Law, I teach the Practicum Principalship 2, and I teach Administration Special Programs. That class is essentially what it is an overview. Actually, it's beyond an overview, but we will delve into all the various programs that campus leaders typically find themselves having of course, as campus principal, you are ultimately responsible for everything that goes on your campus. You may not be the expert, and you may not chair the 504 committee, and you may not chair the dyslexia committee, though you might, but you are certainly held accountable, and ignorance is certainly not acceptable. To say, I didn't know what was happening, you need to know. And so what this course is, Administration Special Programs. When you see the phrase special programs, what it does, we spend time on special education, on 504, on dyslexia reading programs, if you will, on health services, on counseling programs. We touch on all these programs that typically found. ESL bilingual, and we ask you to do thorough and comprehensive weekly reports on each one of these topics, to interview the campus, the program, generally the district level program or coordinator, program director or coordinator in these particular topics, and to give you a better, more thorough understanding of all these programs. Gifted and Talented is another one. So we look at all these. And so that's the other class that I teach. Now, won't spend time here, but I'll scroll down. If you want more information about any of these classes, you can click on this link right here. It says course descriptions. We'll give you the catalog description of every one of these classes. Also, what I will do, I'll send it to you, Michael. I've made note of this. I won't spend time here because I may get myself lost, but somewhere from a hyperlink from our homepage, Michael, is a link that will take, it's public information course, that will take you to all of the course syllabi for all the School of Education. So you'll see bunches and bunches of courses, but within this major master list, you'll see our 10 courses. And from there, you can click on any one of those and see the most recent course syllabus for that course. That would be the spring. Summer course syllabi are not due until next week as far as us getting them uploaded and being published. But you will, anybody can go in and look in more depth. You can see our course syllabi, and you can really get a deeper understanding of all these expectations. As you know, much like your lesson plans, etc., we are required, you know, to be very specific. We have student learning outcomes. We have calendars as far as when assignments are due. We have we align our course syllabi to the Texas principal standards. Make sure, you know, we do that as a self-curriculum audit. Make sure we don't have any gaps in our course programming. So you can read in much more detail if you'd like to. Michael, I made note. I'll send that link to you, and then you can forward it out as well. So with that, Dr. Ray, is there anything else you'd like to touch base on before we turn it back over?
Sorry, I had to get it unmuted. No, sir, I think you've done a really good job.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you. Group, is there any questions or comments that you have for me at the moment? Be happy, we'll do our best to try to answer it. Even going back to the admissions when Dr. Hickey was with us. All right. Well, with that, Michael, Dr. Vu, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And so I'm going to do that right now.
All right.
And we're back. So you guys, whoever would like to take it from there.
Well, I'll just transition into Dr. Vu. She is going to do this second part. And so we wanted all of the residents to have an opportunity to learn about the UT Tyler program. That's why we chose this flip method. A couple of things. I just want to kind of poll, how many of you guys watched video part one and part two before we get to Dr. Vu? Okay. Clap your hands 3 times if you did not watch the video. Or if anybody did not, can you just let us know so we know what information you're working with before we proceed? I don't see any comments or anyone that's saying that they didn't watch those. So I'm assuming we're working all with basic understandings of the timelines we had in there and those kind of things. Is that correct? Give me a thumbs up. Or thumbs down. Okay, very good. Well, at this time then, we've talked about the experiences you'll have in the UT Tyler program. Now I'm going to turn things over to Dr. Vu, and she is going to talk about some next steps and then some experiences that you're going to have as we start planning the principal residency program. Also, I will tell you as we're going through here, if you have already applied to the job, we'll talk about application and interviewing and those kind of things. We are gearing up as we receive applications to start round 1. And as we're going, if you've submitted an application, I've already sent you an invite to the round 1 interview. So Dr. Vu, you ready?
Hey, Dr. Vu and Michael, I'd like to jump in. I've got to step off at 1:30. I've got to go close on a house today. So I've got to go drive to go take care of that. So I would like to first thank everyone from UT Tyler. Very excited about this opportunity to partner with you. Dr. Hickey and I go back a ways, so we have a little history. So I'm excited to work with him again. I would like to say to our candidates that this is a unique opportunity that you're being presented with this partnership with UT Tyler, but also with the grants and what our district is doing. Not many people have an opportunity to get their master's degree and get on-the-job experience at the same time as a principal. So you have a very unique opportunity to do this, but this is also a very big responsibility. And I want everybody to understand what you are looking at stepping into. All right. And Dr. Vu and Mr. Cagle will go through all the planning and everything that's been taking place and all of the requirements. But I want to thank you all for your interest in the program, and good luck with the application process.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you to all of you for joining us today. So I am going to start by sharing my screen. This says here, Dr. Miller, that the host is disabled screen sharing. Can I get that setting adjusted so that I can share my screen? Okay, so I am going to start here, I think. All right, so I have here, I just have our job description, which all of you have seen because you have already submitted your application, or maybe you've reviewed it and haven't submitted it yet, but submitted it through our Region 11 job board. And so I think that the professors from UT Tyler did a really great job of discussing the qualifications, but I just wanted to point these out here. We have received a couple of questions about the 3 years of teaching experience, and so I wanted to point those items out as well. I am going to, let's see, I'm going to swap the views. So I created some notes for you all. Let's see, that I would like to go over. So we did already talk about some of the important dates, but we have made some adjustments a little bit to the interview schedule for a couple of reasons that I want to explain. So we are going to begin round 1 interviews on April 27th. And so that is on Monday. We're going to start our round 1 interviews. And so just to be clear, the application deadline is not until May 1st. But I would strongly recommend, if this is something that you're interested in, that you get your application in as soon as possible, because we are going to begin the interviews next week. We are going to schedule the round 2 interviews on May 4th and May 5th, which ends up being next Monday and Tuesday. And so with that, I just want to let everyone know that round 2 interviews are going to include an essay question, which we are excited about, that you all are going to do an essay. But one thing that I want to clarify is that when we talk about essay questions, we are going to ask you to do a 21st century essay and engage in some multimodal design. And what that means is that you are going to do a video essay. And I'm going to share the requirements of that for you here. Can you all see, let's see. Can you all see the essay question now? Yes? Okay. So I'm going to just move this over so I can see it myself. So each candidate will address the following questions in a 5 to 10 minute video essay. Much like traditional essays, video essays tell a story. The difference between video essays is that they use multiple media to present information in a compelling way. So the video must include the candidate responding to the questions below, but it may also include pictures and text and music and or narration to enhance the candidate's message. And so those of you who are selected to move from round 1 to round 2 will be completing this video essay. And after this meeting today, anybody who submitted an application, I'm going to email this to you, and then we'll continue to email this to any of the candidates who apply between now and May 1st. So with this, it can be as simple or complex as you make it. We are not going to be grading or evaluating the video on your technical skills. We just want to have an opportunity to get to know you more about you. So it's just an opportunity for you to talk and to introduce yourself and to tell us just a little bit more about your views, share more about your philosophy of education. We want to know more about your work as a reflective practitioner and how you reflect on your experiences and use those to grow and cultivate a mindset that prioritizes growth and development. And we want to get to know more about your views on leadership. And so with that, we will be using a rubric to score these essays, and I wanted to let you know. And the reason that is important is because the timeline is going to be pretty tight as a result of that. So I'm going back here, I hope, to the schedule that we have. You all can see this. So we have our round 1 interviews beginning next Monday and our round 2 interviews beginning the following Monday. So even if we have people who don't submit their application until May 1st, and if they're selected for an interview, that happens on that day as well. It's important to note that anybody selected for round 2 will be expected to share this video with our committee before the interviews begin. So it may be something that you want to start working on. So we just wanted to let you know. And then we will have our round 3 interviews on May 7th so that we can announce our candidates after that. Let's see. So I do have this pulled up here so that you can see. So this outlines, this is from the video that Mr. Cagle made. This outlines the different steps to the interview process. So you're going to submit your application. We'll do our round 1 interviews, then we'll do our round 2 interviews, and we will then select our finalists for the round 3. And so when I mention the timeline, what I want to point out is there have been just a couple of tweaks here so that you are aware of the changes in terms of when that interview schedule is going to take place. So with that, I'm going to go back to the notes that I have. I wanted to reiterate what our UT Tyler professors already said, and that is that this internship is just a wonderful opportunity for all of you to engage and participate in authentic leadership opportunities, to grapple with the very real challenges facing school leaders every day while also receiving targeted job-embedded support from experienced administrators. And that's something that most of us did not have. We are so excited to offer this opportunity for the 5 lucky interns who are selected. And so I did mention this bit about the round 2 interviews as well. I want to point out, just for those of you who like to plan ahead, you may pencil this into your calendar. The 5 interns who are selected will be participating in our campus needs assessment presentations on June 17th. And it is a 207-day contract. So your contract will begin on July 16th and it will end on June 16th. And so that is a little bit different than a teacher contract. And so it's something that we wanted to make sure that you're aware of. So when you start here, we are going to have an administrator retreat July 20th through the 23rd. And so that you'll start on a Wednesday, and then the following Monday we'll do our administrator retreat. So you'll get to an opportunity to work with your campus administrators on Wednesday. And just to clarify, July 16th is the start date for all 11-month employees, which would mean assistant principals would come back to campus on that day as well. Then I gave you the dates of new hire, which we'll be asking you to help support there, as well as welcome back week. A couple of key pieces, and I will say that once we select our 5 interns, we will share much more. We'll share many more details about the experience. But you are going to essentially be serving as an AP on the campus, and you're going to engage in many of the same daily activities that assistant principals engage in. So yes, there will be some management of duties and creating of schedules. I will share with you, this is a slide that Mr. Cagle created as well. So I hope that you can see this. So here are just some different things that you'll be doing in terms of developing duty schedules and serving in some form or fashion, or participating with the T-test process. We'll talk through what that looks like. Working with our special populations, making decisions and supporting in terms of just campus management overall. But the primary focus of your work as an intern is going to be on instructional leadership. And so In addition to serving on the campus leadership team, you'll have the opportunity to have ongoing coaching meetings. So you'll receive coaching from our district leaders, our campus leaders. You'll have weekly meetings with the site mentors, and I'm here just under the talking points. You will get to participate in and also lead instructional rounds, and that's something that we haven't done in Kennedale before, but it's something I'm very passionate about. It's a form of job embedded professional learning, and so it's doing walkthroughs as a way to develop professionally as opposed to evaluate. So these are non-evaluative walkthroughs that focus on cultivating shared understandings and a common language around what great teaching looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like. You can have these conversations. It's something I've done a lot over the past several years, and it's really powerful. It moves us away from the egg crate model of teaching where every teacher is in their own little section and everybody closes their door and we don't have an opportunity to collaborate and discuss and work through some of the challenges that come along with serving, humans, working with humans, and do it in a way that feels safe and supportive. You're going to participate in regular PLCs with district leaders. I lead those. You're also going to get to participate and facilitate PLCs on the campus with your teachers as well. And then you'll also get to participate and lead professional development throughout the year. And so those are the highlights. And as I said, after these interns are selected, we will go into more detail about the day-to-day activities. But with that, what questions do you have for us, for Kennedale ISD?
Dr. Vu, while they're thinking that, I don't see any questions on chat.
Yeah, so I'll put the dates here just to give you all an idea.
I have one question.
Sure.
On one of the slides, it mentioned that there was a TEA week in Austin that would be required. Is that the same thing as the administrator retreat?
No, and that's a great question. I think that the information that we started out with said that there was going to be a week-long institute for the site mentors as well as the interns. Mr. Cagle and Mr. G and I attended a TEA webinar yesterday, and we found out that they have, due to the circumstances surrounding the health crisis, they've condensed it from a week to a day, and it's no longer for the interns, it's just for the mentors. So that won't impact you. Good question.
Thank you.
What else? Okay. Well, that's all that I have for you today. I hope that those of you who haven't applied are considering it. Is there anything that, not necessarily questions about the position, but just is there any other thing that you want to talk through in regards to the UT Tyler program, or how this might impact any aspect of your roles and responsibilities here? Is there anything that we can provide clarity on? That's the goal of this meeting. Okay. Well, as I said, after this meeting, I will be, for those of you who have submitted your application, I will be emailing the essay questions out for you. This is only for the people who move on to round 2, but it's something that I know you may want to start thinking about. Some of you may want to get started just because our timeline is so tight. So we wanted to make sure that you had an opportunity to get started if that's a choice that you decide to make. Anything else? Mr. Cagle, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Always have things to add, but I'm going to defer. Thanks to UT Tyler. Thanks to all the prospective residents. Guys, this is a really great opportunity. That's been said about 20 times, but take advantage. I do want to say, Dr. Vu, just make sure there was a little confusion. Guys, Dr. Vu, are you wanting them to email you all the stuff, or is that just they attach that in the application, correct?
Oh, no, thank you. No, you don't need to email me all of it. Thank you. Please put in the application. I am a person who carries an enormous amount of guilt if I don't respond or go through all of my emails, and that's a personal problem that I'm working through. However, since this extended closure, I get at least 100 emails a day, but often more. And please upload them to the Region 11 job board and don't email them to me, because I may not see them. And then when I do, it'll be too late. And it just, I can't handle that guilt in my life. I'm just kidding. Okay. Anybody else?
Dr. Vu and Michael and everyone, I just wanted to say that Dr. Ray and I are really excited to have you partner with us. We are just as fortunate as you are, for sure, because it helps improve our practice, and it helps makes our program for all of our students, I think, that much better. Michael, I sent to you an email with the link to the course syllabi for the School of Education. Did you get that? So if you, at some point, if you could forward that out to everyone, and you simply just click on that link, it will take you to the School of Education listing of all courses within the School of Education. What you'll look for are educational leadership courses, those 10, and the prefix begins with EDLR, and then the course number. So EDLR are Ed Leadership. Of course, you can look at everything if you like, but EDLR are our courses, so you'll have that information if you want to browse. And also, I'd like to just extend an offer. If you have any questions for us as a program, please email me, and I will get it to the right person if I don't know the answer. I'm the program coordinator for the Ed Leadership, and so that doesn't mean that I have all the answers. It means that I'm the contact person. You know how that can be. So
you know how to find answers. That's all we need.
so please do that. Oh, and lastly, about the internship, that I think I'm right on this. I was looking at the Cycle 3 district recipients, and I think there's only like about 8 districts in the state that received this grant. And does that sound right, Dr. Vu and Michael? Is that from that master? I think there's only about 8. Many districts apply for this funding. So it is a feather in Kennedale ISD cap getting this grant, because there's not very many.
Well, Mr. Cagle wrote our application. He did a great job.
So Michael, you did an awesome job, man. So you be commended on that, because again, not very many districts got it, and a lot applied. And they said this is the 3rd cycle, so this is the 3rd grant cycle that they've done this. They said we've been honored to have districts that we worked with for all 3 cycles. So we have some expertise that we can bring, but of course we're always learning ourselves. But we've had some experience with this. So again, it's a pleasure. And email me, gmiller@uttyler.edu if you have a question. gmiller@uttyler.edu, all lowercase.
Yeah. We are so excited about working with you, and thank you for.
Oh, you're welcome. Very.
It's going to be a great partnership.
It will be, for sure.
Okay. Any final questions, comments, anything you'd like to discuss before we end the call?
Yes, Dr. Vu, I have a question to Dr. Miller, and it's about the transcription, because all my background is from Puerto Rico, and I was looking their website, and I got the standard certification 2015, and I was looking that they say that because my background is from Puerto Rico, I need to take the TOEFL test, so I am not sure about that. Because that is something new to get done, the certificate here in Texas. So I complete my certificate before that new law that is recent start here in Texas. So my question is if I need to take the TOEFL, because everything is from Puerto Rico. You're mute.
Tú tienes las certificaciones de aquí hoy, ¿no?
You're on mute, Dr. Miller. Sorry.
You're muted, Dr. Miller.
Muted.
I will, Sarito, I will ask about that. That will be a question
Yes.
for the office of the registrar, because that
Okay.
will be a graduate school or graduate college admission requirement.
Okay.
I will find out what they say.
Yes.
They may say, and if this is what it is, I'll certainly let Michael, if you don't mind, I can send you the information, then you can forward it. I will see what the office says as far as requirements. They'll have an answer for us. I just don't know what that will be. I am familiar with the TOEFL in that, as far as students that receive their advanced degrees from universities outside. So we'll see what they say. That's all I can say at the moment.
I got my certificate before that new law.
And maybe,
So-
I don't know, but
Mhm.
maybe they would grandfather people in. I have no idea. So
Okay.
I'm taking notes to find out as far as TOEFL and the office of the registrar, as far as requirements. And perhaps they may say something like, for you to contact us. But, I'll let y'all know.
Okay. Another question that I have. The transcription need to be all the ones for my BA or all the way to my master, because I have master too.
They'll want all degrees. The
Okay.
office of the registrar will ask for all college degrees, whatever they are, however many you may have.
Yeah, my situation is from Puerto Rico. I will look and sit down today. So see if they can do everything electronic. We are a little bit behind in that process with them over there. So, hope that I'm crossing my finger and do like you did with all your university here. I have the same situation. I have like 4 from them.
Yeah, no, and good for you for all that, all that learning, of course.
Yes.
Right. So, and again, and also, though I can't give you a definitive date.
Okay.
Dr. Hickey, our dean, did say, it's loose. I get it. It's, we will work as best we can to get the folks who have been accepted into our program. If it means a couple of days or a week out, that's what it takes. We will do what we can. I mean, I wish I could give you more, but I will check on the TOEFL and office of the registrar on that one.
It's okay. Thank you for your help.
Oh, you're welcome. And Michael, I'll let you know. And you can forward it on.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Well, thank you all very much for attending, and I hope that you enjoy this beautiful day and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you.